Welcome back to the Dom Joseph podcast. We're back after a 2-week little vacation. Went to the East Coast and experienced the Eastern time zone. Experienced that 3 hours ahead of where I'm usually from. Some people will be like, hey, it's only a 2 hour difference for me, or maybe it's only a 1 hour difference for some other, because there's mountain time and central. I'm just, thankful I don't got to say I'm on mountain time. So when I say Pacific Standard, that feels pretty cool. But anyways, I got to go experience the Eastern time zone a little bit. I was 3 hours ahead of all the people who I know. So if I wanted to call someone, I had to think of, add 3 hours to that time. You're not really thinking about it, but if, say you go to a bakery and you want to know your auntie's favorite donut, it's 7 o'clock in New York time as you're at the bakery. And if you call back home to ask and see what their favorite one was because you forgot it and you wanted to try it over there, you're not going to get the answer. So I think about that sometimes, and that's a totally true story I made up. I did not go to a bakery, nor did I call my auntie to ask what kind of donut she wanted. But that's just giving you a scenario of, the 3 hour time difference. Another thing that actually happened was I went to the YMCA, and I had to get checked in, and they were like, hey, we don't have you on file here. And I was like, well, you can call my Y, but I was like, it's closed. It's 3 hours ahead. And they kind of looked at me like, this guy really doesn't understand time zones, does he? And they were 3 hours behind. So they were open still, and they called him and they said, yeah, he's legit. So that happened. Well, we can argue, some things are just meant to be argued. But I know most of the time when someone says, well, you can argue that, it's about to be a weak argument. Say, for instance, I am no Tom Brady fan. I'm not. But, someone could say, well, you could argue that, some random QB is actually better than him. Geno Smith actually had a perfect passer rating in a game. How many times has Tom Brady done that? So, well, you can argue that he's the better quarterback. If your argument starts with, well, you can argue that, it already sounds like you're at a, wow, look at me, about to use a smart word, deposition. I think that fits there. When you start saying smart words and then you're talking to people and it just doesn't feel like it fits there. I was actually in a conversation and it was my girlfriend, and she was like, I'm going to leave the details out, but she's like, we should go and do this for this person. And I was like, we're going to commemorate that guy? And I was like, wow, I really used commemorate. And I looked it up later because I felt like I didn't really know what it meant, and I used it correctly. So sometimes there's those words where you just think you don't know what you're talking about, but you really do. And Pacific Northwest has had like a heat wave, or at least in Washington State, hence the shirt. And I'm surprised people want to hang out around people when it's hot. Like, I get, going on the boat and going to the beach and stuff like that. That's great. But if, say, like, your friend invites you over, they don't have AC and they're inviting you over, it's like, it's hard. It's going to be hard for me to have a good time. If we're not outside doing something, just, pause till the fall time or the winter time. Like, I'll come over, watch football, come over, watch the game. When it's, if you got AC, other than that, man, I don't, like, as soon as I walk outside and it's hot out, I'm already cussing, like, fuck. Excuse my language. This is a PG-13 episode, I guess. Actually, in most PG-13 movies, you get to use the word, like, a swear word one time. Let me see here. How many times can you cuss? Sorry, I'm trying to type this out. In a PG-13 movie. I think you only get it one time. How many times can the word shit be said in a PG-13 movie. I think there's a certain amount of F-bombs. Oh, everyone's saying I don't think. Yeah, I think you get a couple. So anyway, I've heard that like you get a limit on PG-13 movies, like of how many things and what you could say, which I get. It's you're trying to be pleasable to the young kids and stuff. But in other news, I still haven't had ramen at a restaurant that is better than the cup of noodle yet. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. A lot of people are going to say, well, you've never been out of the country to have the ramen, and you've never gone to a great ramen restaurant before. I haven't taken you there. Or, I've gone to a couple here in Seattle, and I think Seattle is a pretty reputable place. But I still have not had ramen that is better than cup of noodle. And the thing is about cup of noodle is they didn't pay me to say this or anything, but cup of noodle does have a really high like sodium intake. And now since I'm at the age of 24, I got to think of stuff like that. Before I would eat like 7 cup of noodles in a day, and I'd be like, why do I have a headache? It's because it's like that salt's like sucking all the moisture out of you. I almost feel like now, because I'm getting so like starting to know things I'm eating and stuff, like if I have a thing of pretzels and it has like salt on it, I'm like, oh, I need to drink like a cup of water now. And I always should be drinking water anyway, because it's just what you should be doing. And if you got to drink, let's have a cheers together. You're driving, be careful. I hope it's not an alcoholic beverage. Don't drink and drive. But if you have a glass of water or a Mountain Dew or Squirt with you, let's cheers. Doesn't that feel good? Nothing like a drink, like just to relax a little. Okay, let's see here. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, because it's been getting hot. I thankfully have AC in my car. So in this heat wave, I've been kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to go in my car and relax. I did that on one of the hot days. I actually just went in my car and chilled in the AC. So shout out to the privilege I have there. I'm not trying to like not act like I don't have great things, because I do. But that was a great thing to go do. But nothing is more confusing than using somebody else's AC in their car. They're like, oh yeah, just turn it up, and you're like looking at all the AC, the buttons, and like the AC button, the button that does the back defrost, the back shield wiper, the button that ejects, their baby out of the back seat, or there's the cold seat function now. There's a whole bunch of things. So yeah, I think it was actually my girlfriend. She was like, hey, turn up the AC while she's driving, of course. And I pressed like probably 15 buttons before I could figure out the right one. And most of the time they're like, oh, just turn the nozzle. I think that's the right word. Turn the nozzle to the right and it will just turn it on. I'm like, how am I supposed to know that? This isn't my car. So those are things I think about sometimes. And AC is pretty that's a pretty great luxury, I should say. Just like ice. I think the sound of filling up a cooler is actually really therapeutic. Say you go to the store, you drive, say, hey, does anyone want to go get some ice with me? And usually everybody always says no. They're like, I don't really want to go get ice. So it's always like a one-man job to go get ice. And I got in the car, went and got some ice, and there's something therapeutic about saying, hey man, let me get 2 bags of ice on the way out. They're like, all right, and you feel like you're almost stealing a little bit, even though you bought them. So you kind of like do the thing where you like grab the ice and you kind of make eye contact, like, I only got 2 of them, they're like, and so then you walk back, and then everyone's like, oh, you got the ice, and you get to the cooler, and then you slam it on the ground, break it up a little bit, and then that sound of pouring it in the cooler on top of the drinks, and then doing that little like hand thing on top of the drinks. I think it brings me back to a special place, a time where going to the lake or going to the water, and not having to go to the gas station, because when you go to the, if you have a pack of warm Gatorades, it doesn't hit the same as a pack of cold Gatorades. And So I got to experience, filling up the cooler this last time I went to New York. Shout out to Quinna's family. That was great. They sent me to go get ice, and I thought it was pretty cool. From now on, if someone hears this and they're from there, I feel like I'm going to be the ice guy now, but that's okay. I actually thought about investing in a ice maker, like an industrial one, and then like renting it out. Because like when you go to gas stations and stuff, like they run out on these hot days. So like maybe those hot days I can be making a couple bucks or something. Some people who have those like ice dispensers in their fridge and stuff, those things are unique. Unique in the point of like such a great luxury. I still have ice trays, and ice trays are, great if you remember to fill them. But if you have a fridge that has the ice tray on the bottom and you can like grab a scoop and just put it in oh man. That's wealth. It is. And I've thought about that. Like I've told you guys, I want to get 2 fridges. That's the goal. Technically, some would say, Dom, you have probably enough money by the next paycheck you get. You probably just go buy 2 fridges and put it in where you live now. That's true. That's very true. But it doesn't, it's different. It's a different feeling. Like I can easily go get a mini fridge, put it in here, and have a couple Mountain Dews in there, maybe a Liquid Death or something, and but it doesn't serve the same purpose as like the second fridge in the garage, or the flat freezer where you could put all your meats and stuff. It just doesn't beat that. Having multiple fridges is a flex, man. If you got 2 or 3, that's great. And I just love that. I love that. That's my dream. And I'm not going to undermine it. I'm not going to do anything like that. But it brings me back to a humble place. Just like when I was in middle school, they had me square dancing. Yeah, they had me dancing to Junkyard Dog and, promenading, and what's another thing they had? The swing, I think was a move. The do-si-do, that's another thing. That's where you walk, like you circle around people. And I feel messed up because I feel like I should have known like some more native like dances before that, which I did as a little kid. But man, I'm out here do-si-doing, man. I don't know. Anyway, I was in the square dance group, and they were cooperative, and we did pretty well. But then when you get with a non-cooperative dance, square wasn't as fun. And I had to swallow the pill and square dance like everyone else. That was like, I feel like that made me feel old. Like nowadays, like you say, oh, do you guys square dance? And they're like, what? It was like the thing is, back then, for when I was in PE, all the adults would say, oh, you guys got to climb the rope still? I'd be like, what the fuck? No. Rope? We didn't have to climb no rope. My thing was definitely like, yo, do you guys square dance? No. Isn't that like from the 50s? And be like, dang. It was actually the 2000s, but, it was like 2000 teens, the tweens. Wait. No, it was like 2000s, because 2008, I think I was in middle school. Anyway, yeah, that was definitely one of those times. I'm still struggling on how to grow up, Not saying I don't know how to pay bills and do all those type of things, but I mean, like, when somebody says, yo, it's on 40th, I'd be like, dude, give me a landmark. I've done this bit before, but it's happened again, especially with, I've noticed with, like, grandparents especially, they're the ones who are like, oh, it's on 17th. Dude, do you mean by like the Arby's that has the guy who stands outside with a sign who has half hair and like a long goatee, like on Tuesdays? Like I can remember that, but I can't remember like 17th Avenue East. Like if somebody says that, I don't know anything about that. And maybe it's because I come from a generation where we use our phones and just put it in the map and don't even really care. Like I could put in Arby's in Marysville and it's going to know which one it is. Or there's 3 of them and I choose the one that's like somewhat near like the casino or something and I know. We used to have a Arby's on our res actually, and it's gone now. But it was there, you know, that was special for like the one time a year I would eat it. It was technically the closest fast food. Like if we're gonna go by geographical location, it was the closest one. But a lot of times I would like drive by it and say, hey, maybe next time. I feel like Arby's is the maybe next time like restaurant a lot. You know, let's just get McDonald's, or if you're in the fast food mood, like if you don't want any of them, then obviously you're gonna drive by all of them. But Arby's was definitely like, let's go maybe next time. For sure, I think Arby's was definitely like that. What else did I have? Oh yeah. Speaking of middle school, I actually did a podcast with James Silva, the previous episode. He's the game guy. And he was talking about, you know, in school they had him memorizing capitals. If somebody asked me, what is the capital of South Dakota? Man, I'd rather run 3 miles nonstop than remember state capitals. I would. If somebody, you know, challenged me to know more state capitals than me, actually, if I went up to the average person, you know, just someone walking in the streets, and I told them to name at least 20 capitals of a state in the United States, how many of them do you think would actually succeed? Like, the money line is 20, or the money line is 6. Would you take that bet? I think I would. I think a lot of people would know the state capital of the state they're in and maybe a state they've gone to. I can think of Olympia. I think Albany is one. I think Austin is one. I think Sacramento's California's. Des Moines is Iowa. And see, that's about as far as I go. Let's see if I was even right. We'll go U.S. State capitals. This is going to be great. I love this. Okay. So, yep, I got Olympia right. That I should because I live here. I got Austin right. Yep. I got Des Moines right. Let's see if I got New York's right. Albany, I got that one right. And California. Those are the only ones I know. I guess Arizona. Yeah, these are actually not too bad. Most of them are like, think about it, it's like, if you want to know the South Dakota capital is Pierre. If somebody said that and it was for $1 billion and I had probably 1 million guesses, I would probably still get Pierre wrong. Anyway, I think the key is to remember a state capital is just think of the most popular city in your state and then go like 60 miles random in a random like direction, and that's going to be your capital. You go LA, go like 60 miles down, Sacramento. Seattle, go like 80 miles random way, Olympia. New York City, go like probably 4 hours from New York City to Albany. You know, that's the key. Pick the most popular city, go in a random direction. It gets a lot of people, oh, well, that's technically anything, right? You know, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to say. Just like how I don't know what people are going to name their native businesses, man. But that's the thing, you know, being a native business is simple. You know, picking a name, I feel like, you know, just pick an animal and add a number to it. You know, like you could go like 4 fish. People are like, oh yeah, let's go to 4 fish. How about 2 salmon? You know, 8 feathers. 1 per capita. 2 commodity cheese. You know, like there's a lot of things you could just add a number or add an animal, which is really cool, I think. You go to a casino, it's like, oh, let's go to Quad Arrow. Oh yeah, that sounds dope. Or Bears Den. There's a lot of cool. I feel like that's what's really cool about it. Making. So don't overthink your name. Like I overthought Dom Joe's podcast for a while, actually. Yeah, I did. I'm still actually like thinking maybe one day like I would like rebrand Dom Joe's podcast to something else. Like this one time, I was thinking about naming it This One Time. Because I say that a lot. And I don't think I can get away with it anymore. Just like how I don't think I can get away with saying like, oh yeah, I used to play basketball in school. That was 6 years ago. If it's like surpassed 3 years since you've played high school anything or collegiate, you get an extra couple years. If you say, yeah, I used to play this in high school, I don't know if that works for me anymore. I'm 24 years old. I graduated when I was 18. That's 6 years ago now. That's crazy. If I go to the rec now or the gym and be like, yeah, I used to play in high school. Some people will be like, oh, okay, he's probably going to be pretty good. But that doesn't really mean anything anymore. To me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitter. Maybe I'm just a bitter person. Maybe it's me. That's what I've thought about sometimes. What's going on? What else do we have here? Oh yeah, the lottery winner. Somebody actually won the lottery, and that congrats to them and stuff. And I've gotten the question of what would you do if you won $1 billion? I'm pretty sure everyone's gotten asked this question. If they haven't, then I'm asking you, what would you do with $1 billion? Call your answer in to the hotline, which is 425-320-3641. Again, 425-320-3641. But if I had $1 billion, I'd want to help people out, but I don't know if I'd want it. And I know I probably, if I did win it, I would accept it and whatever, my life would go wherever it would go. But I feel like getting the $1 billion is like getting a cheat code to a game. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played Grand Theft Auto before, but I used to play Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and Vice City. And I actually got the cheat codes from like this cheat code book when I was a kid. It'd be like unlimited money glitch, unlimited guns glitch, automatically beat the game glitch. And I would do those, and then guess what it would do? It'd kind of ruin the game. At first, yeah, it was cool. Like, you have unlimited ammo, you have all this cool stuff. And then, you're like, well, I guess I did it all. I obtained the things I wanted. I feel like that would happen with winning the lottery. I could be like, oh, I want the nicest house. Boom, got it. Now I want 2 fridges. Got it. Now I want to travel the world. Okay. But it's like it's like a press of a button. And don't get me wrong, it would probably be cool. And I'm not saying people who have won the lottery have always done bad or haven't won, but I feel like that's the analogy I kind of think of maybe this is an analogy of me just kind of knowing I'm never going to win it, because the odds of winning it are pretty low. But somebody won it in Illinois, and they're definitely up to something. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, the pod would get an upgrade, that's for sure. Let's see. Or what if like I kept it like I didn't do nothing to the pod. Like say I was a billionaire, I still kept the same equipment, worked the job, and used the money I make from the job to upgrade the pod. I still feel like that's still not, I don't know. I feel like people would be like, oh, that's the guy who won the $1 billion. Like, who cares? It's just his side job. Oh yeah. I've been seeing a lot of comments on the internet that say, there's not a lot of girls who want to be with guys anymore because of the standards. And as much as I feel for those people, I understand people who, have their struggles and their disadvantages to obtained relationships, whether girl or guy, or they, or, from people from other communities or genders. But it's not that hard anymore, I feel like. If you're like a simple, nice person, you use deodorant, you brush your teeth, and you wash your ass, I feel like you can, get a boyfriend or get a girlfriend or get get whatever you obtain or want to obtain. That's the thing. I feel like that's like a thing for anything. Like if you do those things, you can get a job too. You do those things, you could probably be looked at as like a good person. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just kind of spouting away. But I just feel like if you just do those 3 things, it's pretty simple. I actually went on vacation and I left a little bit of garbage in the garbage. And here's what happened. And here's like I actually emptied it before I left, but I threw away like a banana peel right before I left because I wanted to eat before I went on the plane. Here's where I messed up. I thought, it's a banana peel, it's going to be fine. But that attracted flies, so I got home and I had a lot of flies a lot of fruit flies in the garbage. And I read online that you can actually get rid of the flies by getting a glass jar, putting apple cider vinegar in it, and Dawn soap and syrup in there. And actually, the flies will gravitate towards it. So that's been working out. So in other news, that's some great things that are going on. And then also, I don't know if you guys have listened to every episode because I'm sure everyone has their own agendas and everything. But there was a couple episodes back where somebody called in and they gave an update on their weight journey. I actually want to call that person, and I don't think I should do it live. But if I do and I get permission, I will put it on. I want to see if I can help that guy out somehow. Just be like, hey man, hope your weight journey's going good. He called into the podcast a while back, and I just want to make sure you're doing good. And if you'll accept it, I'd love to give you like, $30 or something. I know it's not much, but help you out to your goal. Maybe you can go get like a sweatband or something. Not much, but I'm thinking about ways to help people out, and I appreciate people who call in. So, if you guys are going through something, you guys want to share your story about what's going on, remember you guys can always call 425-320-3641, especially people who are struggling, people who are going through mental health things, because that's the thing that's going on in our community. People are struggling with mental health, man. So if you're struggling and, you're lost and you think you're alone, you're not. If you got a phone, you got a contact list, call someone. One random person, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's someone, maybe it's your cousin you haven't talked to in a while. Give them a call. That's my motto. Like, as soon as I think I'm alone, I walk outside, I see someone. I'm like, all right, I'm not alone. Because if you were alone, like this whole world, like there's not one person left on here, I can understand that sadness. But man, you go outside and, see someone walking their dog. All right, man, you know what? They're living. I should be able to live too. That's my thing. I used to think that all the time. It'd be like, oh yeah, I feel alone. I have a neighbor right upstairs. To my right. I think even to my left. That's how they do it nowadays and things. And I'm not a professional advice giver either, so don't take everything I'm saying like I'm a professional, because I'm not. I'm just another guy who knows some things that you don't, and you know things I don't. Right? I think that's what we should all think. Oh, man, water went down the wrong pipe. I'm about to call the board. If you notice, like, if there's ever, like, a slight inconvenience in anything, people want to go to the board. Man, Walmart changed their layout the other day, and I don't know. I don't like the decisions they're making. I'm about to call the board. We need to make a motion. A lot of people say, they can't be treating us like that. I think we need to get a hold of the board. Like, I understand if, like, there's, like, water rights, there's treaty rights, there's things that need to be addressed to the board. But I see some funny things being brought to the board. and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way to Talayla, because, you know, they're great people and I love them all. But man, I've seen some trivial things be brought up to the board. So I actually made this joke today in Tribal Members page. Walmart on our res actually changed up their layout, and it's funky in there, man. Like, I have no idea how to get around in there. And I was like, yeah, this new Walmart layout ain't it, man. People are commenting and stuff, and I was like, man, I'm about to call the board. You know, as soon as that slight inconvenience hits in, you know, I think we need to tell the board about this. Like, it's just hilarious to me, man. There's just, you know, it's funny. But also, I want to know if anybody has ever won a 50-50 raffle. And if you have, please call into the show, 425-320-3641, and let me know what you won. You know, and it doesn't count if it was like a family member's board. Actually, yeah, it does. So if you've ever won a 50-50 board, which is like where you buy a square and, you know, there's a prize, because of the polls I've ran on my social media, like 5% of people won. So I'd love to know what the people who actually have won. And if it's like something minuscule, I don't know. I'm just really excited to see. So, you know, thanks guys and for being here. Thanks girls. Thanks everyone. Thanks them. Thanks, you know, everyone. Yeah. So if you guys don't, you know, call in, you know, that's okay. I'll just have to take it up with the board, you know. Yeah, the board's not gonna like this, you know. I'm gonna have to take it up with the board. They'll get us an answer. All right. Thank you guys so much. Wait.